Okay, Aruna, can't sleep and stay asleep. Okay, you guys can hear me. That's perfect. I'll go to Aruna. Can't sleep and stay asleep. Okay, so a couple habits for sleeping before we move into directly anxiety for sleep that everyone should do as a fundamental. So one thing is moist taping during night. So you ensure you breathe through your nose. You can use regular tape or buy moist tape. Um, Second thing is no screens before bed, no food before bed, and no water before bed, right? Another thing is make sure your body lowers in body temperature to help you go to sleep. So when you're actually sleeping, your core body temperature lowers by 2 degrees. So you want to mimic that to help your body shut down, right? A couple other things you can do. Right as you wake up in the morning, go take a walk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes in natural sunlight. This ensures that, your circadian rhythm is regulated as you get that dopamine production right in the day. And things, if that still doesn't work, you've been doing all of that and it still doesn't work, um, try body scan meditations, NSDR, non-sleep deep rest, yoga nidra, whatever you want to call it. Try that. Play one on YouTube. Find one on a meditation app. And also magnesium. Magnesium glycinate helps as well. Okay. Kimmy, does humor help with anxiety? That's a good question, and I've actually thought about this before. So so here's the thing, right? Healing anxiety is all about teaching yourself that you're safe, right? And sometimes in like, have you ever noticed if like something stressful happens, and like the stress keeps adding, and then it's so bad that you just laugh about it, right? It's like, oh my god, I just totally crashed my car, and then like, this happened, and then like you find yourself laughing, right? That is you actually like processing that stress and anxiety. Funny enough, right? So in a way, yes, right? So not to invalidate your feelings or anything, but laughing and making things lighthearted helps yourself process those emotions and feelings from a place of safety. So yes, I think it does. Rebecca, I've done exposure therapy 2 years now and acceptance and still nowhere near recovery. Do you know why? So two possible reasons, right? One is that you think you're accepting, but really you're not accepting because you're accepting to change, feel different, right? That's two different things. Accepting and accepting to feel different are two different things. That's the first point, right? The second point is, okay, exposure therapy is great, show yourself that anxiety doesn't control your life, do it scared, do it anxious. But the other part of this is mindfulness, right? Do you actually have mindfulness of your thoughts, your feelings? Are you actually living in your body, or are you actually still thinking about anxious thoughts all the time? What about your habits, right? Are you getting sunlight in the morning? Are you exercising? Are you eating right? Are you having healthy social relationships? Are you getting enough sleep? So sometimes if exposure therapy is there, then mindfulness and your habits are usually the missing link. You're welcome, Kimmy. Hi, Igor. Okay. Miguel. Bro, my doctor says I'm. Hi, Miguel, by the way. Bro, my doctor says I'm good, but I feel like crap. Yeah, I get you, right? That's because a doctor's job, right? Especially a general physician, a doctor's job is to realize if anything is medically wrong with you. Like, do you have a cancer? Do you have a lump? Do you have some sort of infection? Something that is significantly physical over mental. Now, anxiety is physical too, like we get physical symptoms, palpitations, panic attacks, but it isn't deemed medically significant to the point where like, okay, you need to like go to the emergency room, etc., right? A lot of it's mental and a lot of it's physical as well, the exhaustion of being constantly in fight or flight. So just because your doctor says you're okay doesn't mean you're necessarily supposed to feel okay, right? You know your intuition more than the doctors. Okay. You're welcome, Rebecca. Saf. Bro, I recently got a hack for it. Hack for what? I'm thinking exposure therapy? Well, thank you for the gift, Saf. Like when I feel like Saf, so like when I feel like I'm getting anxiety, I just control it slowly till it goes away. Okay, interesting. So if you So with anxiety, right? A part of I think maybe you phrased it differently to how I would have, but I still think the fact that if it's working for you, that's amazing. But guys, see with anxiety, a lot of it is about allowing, accepting, and letting your nervous system run its course. Even a panic attack, right? Even a full-blown panic attack can pass away on its own if you actually allow it to, right? Stelios, does anxiety cause high blood pressure? Good question, right? And I get this question a lot. So obviously, when you're in fight or flight, you have adrenaline, cortisol, those stress hormones being pumped through your blood. Um, Obviously, that causes a set of physiological changes in your body whenever your nervous system switches into fight or flight. Whenever you have prolonged fight or flight, so your nervous system is consistently dysregulated, you are staying in that stress response. That has been linked to numerous health issues, right? It's even been linked to cancer. It's been linked to heart disease. It's so, in a way, yes, but I'm not gonna say like just from the data and like studies, and you can go cite me if you'd like. But I'm not gonna be a doctor and be like, yeah, it can increase your blood pressure. The other thing is, are you asking that question as a safety behavior, right? So sometimes we want to like go and research every new symptom, go and research every new sensation or thought we have. A part of that is a safety behavior, right? Well, each time you do that, like you question, oh, am I getting this? Am I getting that? Am I getting that new symptom? Am I getting blood pressure? It's you communicating to yourself that something's wrong, right? And if you keep communicating to yourself that something's wrong and that you have anxiety, guess what's going to happen? Your nervous system is going to think there is a danger. I should stay in a fight or flight, and I should, do more safety behaviors. Like I should keep checking my pulse. I should keep going to the doctor. I should keep googling, right? So a lot of anxiety recovery, and I was actually talking about that in my private communities group call yesterday. A lot of anxiety is first being able to be mindful of rumination and to stop rumination and to reframe rumination into positive thoughts and positive actions. So, for example, Brittany, who's in my private community, so what she would do each time she would start getting a symptom, her immediate response would be to go Google that symptom and to find out, like watch another video on it, read another article on it. So instead of doing that, she shifted into a positive action. In that case, hers was go meditation to practice somatic tracking, which is a nervous system technique to help create awareness of physical symptoms and to actually heal physical symptoms. Okay. Petrolia. Is it normal to feel like I'm being chased? Okay. So yes, right? And I'll tell you why. So a lot of the common things I hear, I have a constant sense of impending doom. I always feel like something bad is going to happen. I'm always looking for something bad to happen. So here's what you guys need to understand. Since you're anxious and if you've had anxiety for a while, or even just when you're stressed, what is happening is your nervous system is going into fight or flight. Now, when your nervous system goes into fight or flight, it's literally like the glasses you use to perceive the world. So pretend you see the world in color. When your nervous system goes into black and white, it's like you take off those glasses and everything's in black and white, right? And suddenly your brain is scanning for potential dangers, potential threats, because like if your nervous system was healthy, if there was a lion chasing you, you would need to activate your fight or flight, right? It's a healthy thing. Like we needed that function of our nervous system as evolution went on. No, the problem is you think there's a lion chasing you all the time. You think that new symptom, that sensation is a lion chasing you. You thinking that a series of negative thoughts that you identify with, that is also a lion chasing you. Does that sort of make sense? So when your nervous system is in fight or flight, it literally changes the way you perceive everything. Scorpio, hi Gabe, hi. Petrolio, that feeling in your chest. So if you have feelings in your chest, first notice where specifically it is in your chest. Apply somatic tracking, so notice the sensation with curiosity, right? Try and breathe with the sensation. Things you can do, rain, so recognize where it is, allow it, investigate, so which is like, okay, what does it actually feel like? I know you felt it a billion times before, but what does it actually feel like? Just notice. And then notice what happens when you stay curious, when you Don't try to get rid of it. When you allow it to be uncomfortable, just notice what happens. Miss Oakley, I'm at work now and I want to cry. I'm sorry you want to cry, but if you want to cry, let yourself cry, right? Uh, I don't know if you're mentioned that like figuratively, like, oh, I'm at work and like I'm having such a hard time and I want to cry, or like I want to cry because I feel sadness or whatever right now and I need to release it. If it's the latter, so if you feel like you need to cry, please go cry, because a part of the reasons why our nervous systems get dysregulated is because we don't process emotions. So this is why when people have like things like PTSD or childhood trauma, or someone they love die and they don't process that grief, all of those emotions get stuck in your nervous system and that can cause dysregulation. So if you feel emotions, let yourself feel emotions. If you're in work and it's the first thing and you're just like having a really hard time, pause, right? Slow down as you're working, right? Don't try and do things in a rush. Slow down. Notice your vision, right? Do something like the physiological sigh, where you take two big inhales and a long exhale. So you take a big inhale like, and you take a second smaller inhale like, and then you take a long exhale through your mouth like. And it's called the physiological sigh. Another practical thing you can do is humming, right? So just take a soft inhale through your nose and make an sound as you exhale. And do that 6 times. If anyone asks anything, just say you're humming a song. Petrolia, I feel like I'm going into a roller coaster. I know that's just what anxiety feels like. It feels like ups and downs. It feels like a crazy ride, and I get that. Ms. Oakley, I can't sleep at night due to anxiety. So do all of the habits I said initially. So sunlight, body scan meditations, magnesium, a warm shower at night also helps. No screens, food, water before bed, sunlight in the morning. Do all of the above, right? Do all of that. Mouth taping as well. Now, try practicing mindfulness at night, right? Notice your breath as you're sleeping. Try and let your body be still. And also the humming and the physiological side, it can help you wind down. Aruna, constant negative thoughts coming in my mind all day and night. What should I do? So first thing to understand is that you are not your thoughts, right? You are the awareness of thoughts. And this is one of the illusions that meditation helps you identify, that you are actually not your thoughts, and you don't have to identify with every anxious thought you have. Because sometimes we have one anxious, like pretend we're not anxious right now, and then you have an anxious thought. And then you have the next anxious thought. And then before you know it, you've created this entire story that's triggered an emotion, probably intensified your physical symptom. And guess what? Now you're in fight or flight, right? So meditation is about noticing those thoughts. So let the thoughts come. All of those thoughts are you thinking from the part of your brain called your amygdala. So your amygdala is the part of your brain that controls that stress response. That's what's activated when you're anxious, when you're in fight or flight. So first recognize, okay, I'm not those thoughts, right? Let those thoughts come. Like trying to stop thoughts or fight thoughts with thoughts is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. It just doesn't work. Try practicing meditation, right? 10-15 minutes a day. If you don't know how to meditate for anxiety, go join my free group. There's a free meditation course in there that's for self-compassion, and then there's a proper meditation course in my other community. Okay. How to deal with OCD, right? So obsessive compulsive disorder. So mindfulness has been great because it allows you to recognize those obsessive thoughts and realize that you don't have to do them. Therapeutic therapy has been great. So I don't know what state you're in. I don't know what substances are legal or not legal. But if you're in a state where psychedelics are legal, for example, and a therapeutic therapy for psilocybin has been done wonders for OCD. No, I'm not saying anyone to go do psychedelics. Please do not mistake me or misunderstand me. Loads of people should not do psychedelics because they have like pre-medical issues like bipolar, schizophrenia, and their mind is more unstable. And if they take psychedelics, it can put them into psychosis. So please, and if it's not legal in your state or country, please don't do it either. I don't want to be responsible for anything. You're responsible for your own health. But if you are in a country where it's legal, go to a trusted doctor. Start practicing therapeutic therapy with psychedelics. Okay. Andreas, hello. Hello to you too. Okay. A lot of questions here. Okay, let's go. Kimmy, we all need to remember that it's a feeling and we've had it so many times, we just need to accept. Exactly, right? And each time you have mindfulness of that feeling, and each time you practice not resisting, not pushing away, it gets easier. It's so clear. Hey, try join the free group in my bio. You get a free call with me there. So I'll try and help you there. S, did you take meds for anxiety? Yes and no. Yes, to the point where like it helped me. It initially gave me it, and it made me significantly worse, and I stopped. Right, and they also gave me antibiotics for I had gut issues also because of my antibiotics. So I decided to heal naturally, and medication works till it hasn't. Right? Is that right, Gabe? Yes, it is. So, Stelios, I'm being checked by a doctor for high blood pressure. My doctor said it's probably because of stress. Yeah, that's probably true. Um, can a panic attack cause me to pass out? No, it can't. Riley, what sort of food did you eat in anxiety recovery? I ate whole foods, right? So food, the type of food that has like single ingredient. Like when you eat an apple, there's apple in it, right? There isn't like glucose, fructose syrup, rapeseed oil, a bunch of like processed ingredients. So eat foods that are whole foods, right? So like pasteurized eggs. If you're gonna eat meat, grass-fed beef. If you're gonna eat fish, freshwater fish. Yes, it's gonna be a little bit more expensive than the processed shit, but your health is worth it, right? Your health is worth it. If you don't pay it now, you're gonna pay it with hospital bills later on in life with time and energy, right? Uh, don't eat processed carbohydrates, so don't eat things like cakes, donuts. Avoid all processed foods and ultra processed foods. Avoid alcohol. Avoid fizzy drinks if your gut is sensitive, especially. Um, yeah, so like whole foods, get your vegetables in, get your fruits in, and healthy meats. Like if you are going to choose to eat meat. Jambo, can anxiety cause a dull ache in my chest? Yes, because anxiety can cause. I think there's a never-ending list of potential physical sensations and symptoms that anxiety can cause. It just depends on the way your nervous system manifests everything. And thank you for the likes, by the way, guys. All right, Mivini. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. My anxiety has been okay at the moment, but I always think about past episodes and work myself up. Any tips? Yes. So one, whenever that happens, pause, slow down your body, and bring yourself to the present moment, right? The past doesn't exist other than in your head. You are thinking about it, making it real in your head. So start practicing meditation if you don't. Two, if you find it really bothers you, start journaling it, right? To get it out on paper, create more awareness of it, right? And it's almost like releasing it from your mind. I do that. And also, if you find yourself ruminating, exercise in nature, taking a walk, all these things do amazing. Someone in the chat said, I just want to say to everyone in the chat, believe in yourself, take care of your health. I love that because I have this quote that I kind of like took from a book and I kind of made it my own. And it's like, he who believes he can heal anxiety and he who believes he can't are both right. And so if you believe you can heal, you can heal. If you don't believe you can heal, you won't heal because you won't take action towards it. Okay, Jack. Hey, is it normal after a workout? My symptoms are like worse. Possible, right? But the thing is, if your symptoms worsen and intensify, because there can be a billion reasons why, and sometimes it doesn't even have to make sense. So if your symptoms worsen, let it worsen. Like, don't judge how intense your symptoms are on one day or another day. Focus on what you can control, like your actions. Emma, my health anxiety is through the roof. I constantly get stabbing pains everywhere. Okay, so Emma, first things, get some mindfulness to stop rumination. Don't Google anything, don't research anything. Be mindful of any safety behaviors you're doing. Second thing, start practicing exercise and meditation with somatic work. So, meditation will help you noticing and will help you notice you thinking about your health anxiety. Exercise helps rumination. Scientists call it hope cells. So when you exercise, this is thing that gets created in your blood. They call it hope cells, but it helps you have more positive attitude towards the future. So exercise is great. And with the stabbing pains, practice meditation and somatic tracking to help create mindfulness of those symptoms. If you don't know what somatic tracking is, it's basically a nervous system technique that is used to feel your physical symptoms from a sense of safety instead of fear, to help you process your body from a sense of safety. Because if you think you're safe, your nervous system won't go into fight or flight. And if your nervous system starts regulating itself and feels it's safe, guess what's going to happen? Your symptoms will naturally go away. But that's not the point. Jambo, can cold showers help? Yes, they can. They can help massively. So cold showers do amazing benefits for things like your skin, hair. But the other thing it does is it helps increase your body's ability to tolerate stress, and it lowers your heart rate, right? When you're stressed, your heart rate increases. So obviously when you're taking a cold shower or an ice bath and you're in that water, it's uncomfortable. And guess what else is uncomfortable? Anxiety. And when you take more cold showers, you get better at being uncomfortable. So if you get better at being uncomfortable, you get better at being anxious and being aware of it and not fighting it so much. Because remember, your anxiety isn't the problem. Your resistance and an inability to actually deal with that stress is a problem. Thank you, Thank you, Siba. You just popped on my For You page, and I'm glad you're healing from whatever pains you experienced. Thank you. Okay, Charlene, my health anxiety is awful right now. I'm constantly having to take a deep breath, yawn to get one. So, with that, right, start releasing your diaphragm, right? Chances are you're probably breathing from your neck and your chest, and your diaphragm's all tight. So, start making sure you breathe from your diaphragm and your rib cage actually moves out. Other things you can do to actually release your diaphragm: take a long exhale. That'll help release your diaphragm. Humming helps, right? It helps activate your diaphragm. Singing helps. Jack, I feel like I'm depressed too. That's normal on a healing journey. Don't worry. Like, when your symptoms worsen or you've had consistent setbacks, you feel like, oh, things aren't getting better. I get that, right? And that's normal, and that's okay. Allow those emotions to be there, and things that specifically help when you start feeling depressed: nature, good food, exercise, and spending time around people you trust and love. Emma, are shooting, stabbing pains anxiety symptoms? If you've had a medical checkup and there's no other medical explanation for it, 99% chance it is anxiety. Okay. Okay. Hi, Gabe. Hi. Gabe the Lifesaver. Thank you, Anamine. You're welcome, Mavini. Okay, let me just. There's a lot of questions, so I just want to try and go in order so I don't skip anyone. Okay. What causes exhaustion and what causes tiredness, exhaustion, and no appetite? So, when your nervous system is in fight or flight, right, you are pumping adrenaline, cortisol through the blood. You're using up a lot of your body's fuel. You aren't supposed to be in fight or flight all the time. So if you stay in fight or flight more than you should, it's using up a lot of your body's reserves. There's something called your adrenal glands and stuff that gets fatigued. So that results in exhaustion, that results in tiredness. And this is why when you start healing, you start sleeping a lot more to let your body recover from that stress. Same thing with appetite, right? Like, so if a man was chasing you with a gun, you wouldn't think about eating food, right? You'd be thinking about how to protect myself, how to solve that threat. So did you take medicine for anxiety? I did, but it's called natural medicine, like meditation, exercise, journaling, finding out the root cause, shadow work, and healthy foods. How to deal with OCD? Meditation, be mindful of your OCD thoughts, journal your OCD thoughts, let them pass. Mandy, trying to come off Mitch's spine at the moment. Good luck, and I hope you're okay. How did you find Ravan? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. How did you find the motivation to keep going in your recovery? So two things, right? When I find myself feeling hopeless, I first remind myself of everything I've done, right? So for example, in my second community, we have a wins chat where, like, every time somebody has a win, like, oh, I did my exposure therapy today, oh, I didn't have any symptoms today, or like I was be able to do this, I make them go click on it and like read everything that they've done so far as evidence that they've been healing. Because in the moment, if you have a setback or your symptoms suddenly worsen, you'll feel shittier, right? If you've been feeling okay for a few days and your symptoms suddenly get worse, it affects you, right? And you feel like, and you suddenly feel like, oh, my back at square one again. Like, I did all this work, I thought I was getting better, blah, 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 blah. So, first, remind yourself of everything you've done. Then, second thing, remind yourself of your why. Like, why do you want to heal? Like, for some people, it's for their kids, some people, it's for their work, some people, it's for themselves. Why do you want to heal? Remind yourself of that. And is that why worth healing anxiety for? And then the final thing I would suggest you do is take one small positive action. So whether that's dancing to your favorite song, whether that's singing your favorite song, whether that's taking a 5 minute walk, whether it's hugging your pet, just do something. Don't sit there and ruminate. Just do something small, and then that'll help you. That'll help shift your state of mind. And when you shift your state of mind, you will think differently and you will act differently. Silver, cigarettes. Don't smoke. A lot of anxiety is connected to the breath. Like cigarettes, vaping, that does cause anxiety because you're getting that dopamine hit and you're getting that short-term relief instead of dealing and sitting with that emotion. So every time you get anxious, if you go take a cigarette, you're teaching your brain to go do that. So whenever you don't have the cigarette, guess what's going to happen? Heightened anxiety. You have to learn to sit with it and you have to learn to be mindful of it. My doctor gave me sertraline, but I haven't taken it yet. I don't know if it's good for me. So if in case you guys don't know my opinion on medication, for some people medication isn't needed, right? To give them some breathing room. Like they've tried to do the natural stuff and it just hasn't worked. And then they use the medication to help them do the healthy, natural methods, and then they eventually temper off medication. The people that medication doesn't work for are people who see it as a band-aid, see it as a quick fix, and then they keep taking medication until it stops working, right? And then anxiety is even worse because they never learned how to deal with it naturally. So obviously you know your intuition more than the doctors, right? The doctors just want to give you medication. If you call up a doctor in the UK, for example, and just say you're feeling anxious, they will prescribe you with medication with like no further questions. Like it's so easy to get your hands on it. How to deal with OCD? Talked about that already. So extreme fear rumination of BPD, just because I have fear of abandonment, diagnosed with general anxiety disorder and OCD. So stop your rumination, start with your habits, start with what safety behaviors are doing, and make positive changes like start building meditation, start doing exercise, start doing exposure therapy, right? All of these things that you're diagnosed with, right? If you complain about them, you're calling yourself a victim and saying that they happen to you. Use those as opportunities to improve how you are. Maya, how to deal with social anxiety. So with social anxiety, the best way is exposure therapy and to ease into it. So let's say you, the thought of making a speech would make you so scared. Start with saying hi to one person a day. Or start with smiling at one person a day, a stranger, like in the park, when you're at work, when you're to a cashier at the store, just say hi and smile. Do that for a week. The next week, say one sentence like, hey, I like your shirt. Hey, I like your haircut. Just do that. Then the next week, try and have a 30-second conversation with someone you don't know. And then keep building the intensity of the tasks up. Because when you've been social so many times, it will decrease your anxiety level. So for example, when I had a sales job and I had to make calls with new people I'd never spoken with, my anxiety would be through the roof. But after my first 100 calls, it got easier because I did it that many times. That's the best thing with social anxiety. You have to do it. You have to do it scared. And then eventually you don't have to do it scared anymore because you won't be scared. Oh my god, that was actually a good idea. I should write that down as a content. Okay. I used to take meds for anxiety, but the last 2 weeks I'm trying to leave them. Good for you. When I get anxious, my face gets flushed and it's really uncomfortable. How can I stop that? Don't try to stop it, right? Your body is allowed to react and respond however it wants. Your body is allowed to get triggered. Your face is allowed to flush. If you stop it and resist it, you're going to create more friction in your nervous system and actually make it harder for you to leave fight or flight. Accept the face flushing. Let it happen. It's okay. Journaling has helped a lot. Yeah, journaling is amazing. Kimmy, Gabe, you should write a book. You really help a lot of people. Thank you. I appreciate that. Maybe one day I will. Sadiq, how do I know if I have anxiety or depression? So depression is more. So first of all, feeling depressed and having depression are two different things. So people with depression, right? They genuinely focus on the past, right? More about what's happening. They have a proper sense of hopelessness. Anxiety is more like you're triggered, like you're in fight or flight. You're constantly thinking. Um, you may have anxious physical symptoms. Your thoughts are mainly about the future. So depression, you're more focused on the past. Anxiety, you're more focused on the future and about what's like, how am I going to deal with these physical symptoms in the next moment, tomorrow, etc. James Rooney, how do I stop the physical symptoms of anxiety, i.e. chest pains? You don't, right? Don't try to stop them. Just try to create mindfulness of them. Apply somatic tracking. If you don't know what that is, Google it. Play a somatic session on YouTube for your chest pain, right? Don't try and resist how your body manifests anxiety. Don't try and get rid of the symptoms, right? Focus on your habits, your choices, your thoughts. Then symptoms will naturally go away, but they're not the point. Brittany, what do you do that if it still continues? Then you're not really accepting it. I don't know which point you're talking about. So comment below again the point. But if it's about what I just said, you have to just keep doing it. And some days it feels like it's getting worse, and you just keep fucking doing it. You keep show up for yourself every day, right? And that's how you heal. Like some people do meditation for a week, 2 weeks, or they try exposure therapy for a week, 2 weeks. And they're like, okay, it doesn't work. It's not making me feel better, etc. And then if you say that, you've already failed, right? You've already failed because a lot of your healing is going to happen from consistency. So part of it might be it just takes time. A lot of this anxiety didn't manifest overnight. It started with inability to do simple tasks. It started with a panic attack here and there again. And then it went to full-blown panic attacks every day, physical symptoms every day, right? It took time for your nervous system to get dysregulated. It's going to take a little bit of time for your nervous system to get regulated again. And that's okay. How to deal with OCD? I'll just say it again. So meditation, mindfulness of the thoughts, journaling the thoughts, exercise, things like that. Jay Taylor, hi Gabe, hi. As for me, I will just lock myself and fall asleep unknowingly. That was a question, by the way. Alright, I'll answer. Okay, I will answer a few more. I'll answer one more. And I'll answer the last. Okay, let me see. There's a couple of questions though. Can losing weight help? Well, exercise helps, and if you're overweight, then yes, you should lose weight because a healthy mind starts with a healthy body, right? Treat your body like someone you're responsible for helping. I love this quote, and it's like the only place you have to live is your body, right? It's the only place. If you're back pain, you have physical pain, like the only place you have to live is your body. So take care of it. Exercise. Watch what you eat. Eat low foods. Ramses, I don't know who Ramses is. I'm sorry. Amine, carbs are bad, right? Not necessarily. Processed carbs are bad, right? Now, if you're on about like you want to do a keto diet and you want your body to activate ketosis and things like that, then I guess carbs are bad. But it's really processed carbohydrates, so things like cakes, donuts, sugary sweets, things like that are really, really bad. Like they can cause cancer. Stug, I love your TikTok. I'm improving and inspired me. I'm so glad to hear. Gabe, I haven't been able to sleep for a couple of days. My anxiety is really bad. Do all the sleeping times I mentioned, man. You got this. I started doing things action and started to ease. Yes, exactly. Do it anxious. Do it scared, like Scorpio said. Can you have extreme fear of being alone without it having to be BPD? Yes, you can. Yes, you can, right? So, like people get misdiagnosed all the time, and you're not alone in that fear, right? It probably stems from a limiting belief you have from your childhood. Alina, how do you build self-esteem? You start keeping promises to yourself. If you tell yourself you're going to meditate. If you tell yourself you're going to exercise tomorrow, actually wake up and exercise tomorrow. If you tell yourself you're going to stop Googling, stop Googling. When you have a list of undeniable proof of that you are who you say you are, guess what happens? You suddenly having self-esteem. You're like, no, if I say a promise, I'm going to keep it to myself. Okay, I will answer one more and then I will let you guys go. So, how can I focus? Right. So, when you are in fight or flight, it is more difficult to focus because obviously you're concerned with solving a threat or solving a danger, right? So, it's going to be more difficult to focus. Now, just appreciate that first of all. So doing things all that I've said, like regulation, meditation, exercise, shadow work, finding out the root cause, things like that, somatic tracking, all of that will help your focus come back from your nervous system coming out of fight or flight. Now, other things that help focus, your focus is linked to your dopamine, right? So try increasing how much dopamine you have. So, for example, try and avoid cheap dopamine like porn, sugar, social media, video games. Be mindful how much you consume those things, right? Second of all, get sunlight in the morning to activate that dopamine production. That'll help bring your focus back. Reading also helps. Alright, guys, it was amazing to speak with you guys, and this will be recorded and uploaded in my um, free community, which is in my bio. And yeah, okay, you guys got this, right? Do it scared, do it anxious.